Hello, Virgo and Virgo Rising. Welcome to your July 2016 reading. I hope that everybody's month has gotten off to a great start. And let's begin with the channeled information that came through for you. And I get this by meditating on the sign before I read for you. And what I actually saw for many of you is this is a month of like fluidity of form. And so roughly speaking, that would translate to shape-shifting. Another way to think of it, though, is that you're going to have to be very flexible in the ways that you present yourself to others, in the way that you are with your thinking, so that you're not too rigid with the way that you sort of expect things to be done. Flexibility would be another word. But with shapeshift, there is also a sense that you need to be much more... Yeah, it's really flexible and cognizant of what other people are needing. So you'll have to flex and you'll have to shift according to circumstances. It's not a month during which you can sort of like just be stubborn and stick in one frame of mind, okay? So let's go ahead and shuffle the cards for this month and see what sort of information is coming through. And then we'll pick out your catalyst card. And for those of you that follow me every month, you know that the catalyst is really how all of these cards are going to connect. It's sort of like if you think of a catalyst in chemistry or fuel, it sparks the month off. So let's first just go ahead and pull the cards and see the energy, and then I'll get the catalyst card. Let's look at the catalyst after I shuffle it a little bit. So one more time, because this deck is a little bulky and doesn't want to shuffle, but I want to give it a nice good shuffle for you. There we go. And that card is the one that volunteered. Okay, so this really goes nicely with the channeled information about shapeshifting, because as I was saying, you might need to sort of go with the ebb and flow of expectations this month. Fluidity, I believe, was what I actually said at the beginning. And so see yourself less as a sort of rigid, like Rock of Gibraltar. You're more sort of a very fluid, flexible, human being this month, but your thoughts should also sort of ebb and flow like this. So don't get... Okay, for those of you that are creative people, whether you're an artist, a painter, a writer, what this is saying too is that the key to your success this month is going to be not just focusing on one detail and having that sort of pull you into a sense of like perfectionist sort of... You need to be able to pick up, let go of some things that aren't working, and just maybe have things come together in pieces. For those of you that are like event planners or have a job that requires you to do a lot of different things, this is saying that you're not always going to be able to see something from A to Z. You're not always going to be able to sort of see it happen, all pieces of it. You're going to have to be able to do small little things and delegate and trust, and that's going to be something that helps you quite a bit. All right, let's look at the rest of the month here. Your center card is the Emperor, and we have the Emperor reversed. So exactly what I was just talking about there. This is a card of control, because think of an emperor or an empress. Basically, they're ruling their kingdom. What this is saying is that you're not going to be able to... I definitely see the control tendencies coming in here, but delegation is really, really key, and making sure that you trust the people that you delegate to. What this is going to lead you to is an ability to free your mind, your resources, and your energy to come up with new projects, to lead new endeavors. And if you think of some of the most successful leaders, they have really good support staff around them, wingmen, wingwomen, whatever you want to call it. They have a lot of really talented women and men around them that they can hand off details to. So if you do this, you're going to free your mind to come up with like the next big thing, or to solve a problem that you've been vexed with for quite a while. In the area of relationships, what this is saying also is it's give and take. And if you're constantly the one that's trying to manage everything, this is a month to step back And it's hard because sometimes, especially, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a relationship or if it's a job, you know, sometimes you just feel like if I just take this and run with it, then it will get done. What you are doing on one level, though, is cheating someone else from stepping up to the plate, or you may not be communicating an expectation to them. So if that's the case, work on your communication skills and allow other people to find that opportunity and step up, okay? What I see here in the deep past here is that many of you have already sort of been working on, I think it's a need to be recognized right now, which is okay, because a lot of times, you know, we work on letting go of ego and putting other people first, but it is important occasionally to allow yourself to shine, to have some validation for the hard work. And I see that recognition has either just happened or it's overdue, and this is something then that you have to work on. So if you haven't been validated at work in the way of a raise, a promotion, or just a general thank you, you need to find a way to remind or sort of bubble up and, you know, basically it is make yourself more visible to your superiors so that they understand, wow, you bring something to the plate. What I see here in the past few weeks, maybe the past month for many of you, was a feeling of needing to just sort of stay more sort of like withheld and more of a hermit, as the card says. But that's, to me, when I'm looking at this, it's time to break free of that. So if you have sort of withdrawn, those are what I was thinking for. If you've withdrawn from friends and family, if you feel like you're just not wanting to see people, I understand that that's okay for a while, but you're going to want to find ways to break free from some of these. It can be self-destructive at a certain point, and especially if you aren't getting that recognition at work, what you need to do is find a way to force yourself maybe to go to a company gathering, because that FaceTime is going to be very helpful with key decision makers in your company. For those of you that are really not that focused on work, what this means is, again, focusing on letting go of control issues, stepping up, asking for what you need, not always just keeping it within. That's really what the Hermit is about. All right, if you're not already super busy, it looks like this month is going to require good multitasking on your part. Nothing to be afraid of. I love the Eight of Wands. I'll pull the card a little bit closer, but the Eight of Wands is a card of opportunity. It's a card where you may be challenged with stepping outside of your normal comfort zone and having to sort of like go further and faster than you're comfortable with. But you are so well poised for that this month. It's a really, really good time for you to, and this isn't true of every sign, but I actually see execution of contracts, public speaking, anything written, anything involving communication, really, really good. If you've been waiting to do something, around the second week of the month is the best time to sort of kick off and start something new. And think about, this is like marketing, launching a website, announcing a new brand, whatever. I feel like the key work has already been done for this, that you're really just working on maybe some of the small legal matters. But once all those pieces come into play, as soon as the 8th of the month, but I really feel like it's the second week when everything kicks off, then go for it. This is a card that shows really, really good things on the horizon. Your ego card this month is the Magician. Love it, because what this shows me is if you focus, you can kind of put your mind to anything and go for it. And good things can really come and manifest out of this. The flip side of the coin is that this can be the card of ADHD, where it's sort of like, oh, I have this to work on, I have this to work on. All these sort of demanding voices, people, opportunities, and what you'll have to do is basically put some limits up and let go of the need to control every little thing and just go for those top tier items. What's going to be in short demand, or short supply this month, high demand, is probably your money, your internal energy. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to do yourself a disservice and possibly miss a few opportunities this month. I think in modern society, we think that we have to prove, oh my gosh, I'm drinking all this caffeine and I only got 2 hours sleep. And there's almost like at least this was true in some of the corporate environments I worked in, there's almost this sort of competition in how much you could abuse your body, and show off, like, look at all this stuff that I'm doing. And I actually think that sometimes that's a person that's not managing their time wisely, and it's not something to brag about. So for you, what I'm hoping is that you can take care of yourself and realize if some of these people are kind of like trying to be competitive around you, a lot of times they're just not an effective time manager, and you can just think, well, that's too bad, and I got this done in half the time, and it doesn't make it worse. It just means that I'm focused on the task at hand. Okay, so really think about how you spend your time, how you spend your money. The other thing that comes through with the King of Pentacles reversed is for you to make sure that you empathize, listen, check in on friends, family, and coworkers, also on your partners if you're dating someone. This can be a card that indicates selfishness. So if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and may sort of veer towards being more self-involved, then take a step outside of yourself, take a deep breath, and just remember to check in with those around you. Now, if you feel the energy of a really strong earth sign like a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, and they're sort of emanating this needy or demanding energy, then you want to kind of divorce yourself from that this month. Separate that. Just you can listen to them and, like I said, empathize, but you don't have to completely give of all of your time and energy. They have to learn to solve their own problems, if that makes sense. When we're looking at the third week of the month, this is probably the most challenging for your sign. With death, there's a lot of connotations. This is an upright death. When it's reversed, it often means sort of like there's a warning sign. You might have hit a full stop on a project or a dead end. When it's upright, it sometimes means a curveball's been thrown here, and it may be a literal block that you didn't see coming. It's sort of like a blind curve. Or it can also mean a symbolic death, like having to quit something, having to move, an announcement of a change that's really quite sweeping. For instance, in the last month we heard like Britain's deciding to leave the EU would be like a death card. It's the quintessential example of that and the Tower. But it is literally a death card because you're saying, I'm no longer this, I want to be this. Now, what's cool about this, because I really don't subscribe to fear. I look at cards and I see a lot of different levels and ways to manifest and sort of harness the energy. So what we're really talking about around the third week of the month is change. So if you're feeling like you need to make a change, start to lead up to it, the first and second weeks of the month, and then by the third week, you should have announced or made your decision. That's why we see this around the second week, and I mentioned that. And then around the third week is when the changes happen. Death is indicating that you may need to repeat some of your intentions. You may need to execute a contract. You may need to just like delete someone from your phone book and say no more. For some of you, this is always the case with the death card. There could be a physical loss in your life, like some loss of property. There could also be loss of life. But I look at it more symbolically. Whatever it is that's changing or moving out or transforming, it should happen by the third quarter of the month, the third week. And what I see towards the end of the month is a need to be really kind and thoughtful about your emotional state. But the cool side of this coin is that for those of you that are sort of emotional and creative, you can combine this energy and do something beautiful. Again, a painting, a poem, or some sort of a creative project around the house where you decide to maybe redecorate or paint a room. There's a way you can channel the energy and do something really cool. So the other thing that this card can indicate is, especially for those of you that might be getting out of a relationship and looking for something new, there could be a very strong Cancer entering your life. This card often ties up with the sign of Cancer. Let's go ahead and extend the forecast, and I'll summarize all of this again at the end because there was a lot of information that came through for you. Again, for those of you that watch on a month-to-month basis, you know that the reason I call this an extended forecast is I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we're going to start first with a health card. We'll pull here from the top of the middle. And it says shielding. So particularly with this major change that's going to be happening for you around the last couple weeks of the month, the shielding card is about you setting limits, and you can either symbolically sort of see what you like, this halo of light here, A lot of times I view a cylinder of light that extends infinitely to the sky and infinitely below. And within that cylinder, I'm completely safe and contained. You can do whatever you'd like that feels like you have security, safety, and some sort of a limit. It's also verbal shielding, saying no, for instance, or I can't do that, or I need help, and not taking everything on for yourself, okay? That's going to obviously help your emotional health, which will then trickle into your physical health, which is why it's in health. Let's look at wealth, remembering that wealth is also your opportunities in your life. So for wealth, we see trust. You have to ask yourself before you, and this is associated with the Fool card, because you notice the 0 on here, and it's also associated with the first week of the month, since it's sort of the fresh start of the month. So with this trust card, with this Fool card, really, what you need to think about is, do I trust like my financial investor? Am I listening to my intuition when it comes to my spending habits? Are there areas where I'm splurging too much? Do I need to break free of a habit? All of these things happen with the Fool card. It's a new beginnings. It's avoiding things, or sometimes not paying attention to things. So ask yourself when it comes to your money, and again, your expenditure of also time and energy, because those are resources too. Are you doing it effectively enough this month? There's probably an opportunity somewhere to revisit, to firm up some of the spending habits. And again, that can be your sleep, that can be your pocketbook and how much you're spending, and it can also just be advice. So just be very cautious when it comes to spending. I see it more as you can do a little bit more of an improvement in that area, and it's going to ease your mind as well. So just a great month to revisit. And if you're not happy with whoever your financial planner is, ask for some help. If you don't know things about your own retirement plan, or just how your bank works, or whatever it is, like, ask for help, okay? The Fool only remains a fool if she doesn't ask for help or he doesn't ask for help. So don't be afraid, okay? Now let's take a look at love. Love including relationships of family, of friends as well. So let's see what the love card is this month. And it's saying, this is really a peacekeeping card. The card reads, choose love, and it says you always have a choice as to what you should do. But what you should do isn't always what you want to do, and that's the interesting thing. So choose love is really about all of the benefits of not sort of going into conflict. So if this probably isn't the best month for you to start a legal sort of like a law, basically if you have to litigate against someone, I wouldn't do it this month unless you have to. And if you do, seek out really good legal counsel. If you find yourself in a situation where someone is trying to back you in a corner, we're talking more symbolically here, but like say you're at work or you have a friend and they're trying to push your buttons and make you argue with them. The best thing you could do is sort of just say, it seems like this probably isn't the best time for us to talk. I want to revisit it, but let's talk again in a couple days after we both had a chance to think this through. And if they don't react to that, then just don't take their calls for a few days. There's a lot of creative ways around it, but you want to try to diffuse, avoid, delay conflict or major decisions that could lead to conflict, so that you can basically have all of your senses with you and make a better decision when you finally sit down and negotiate. All right, let's take a look at your Destiny card. And Destiny is all about where you're headed. And this is sort of like a gut check when I look at the Destiny card to see if you like where you're headed. You can always change it. Free will trumps everything. What it's saying here is health is really going to be the key to your success this month. And when we were talking about shielding, this is really, really key for you. And then also any sort of habits that you need to shift out of. For a lot of you, that could be sedentary life. So sitting at work too much and needing to move, because the Fool card is a card of motion, momentum, breaking free, not feeling sort of weighted down. So you want to find ways to find that liberation in your in your exercise schedule. All right, so let's summarize everything and see what the energy is bringing through again for you this month. Your crowning card is showing a lot of things going on, which requires you, of course, to not be a control freak, to trust people around you. There's a really good chance for you around the second week of the month to execute on a really big idea. You may have been keeping this to yourself for a while. It's time to share. I do feel like there's a lot of good potential in this idea that you could be sitting on. For relationships, again, you need to speak up, you need to let go, allow other people to take center stage occasionally and shine. Make sure that you're checking in and asking, maybe just text a friend out of the blue and say, how are you doing? Would you like to get a coffee or something like that? Very powerful month for you if you decide to focus your energy. Try not to feel defeated, derailed, or discouraged on the third week of the month when some sort of a transformative event happens for you. It's not the end of the world, but it is going to mean a major change. A strong Cancer or water sign could be entering around the end of the month, the last week of the month. It also is sort of hearkening to very creative energy. And a reminder again, of course, for your health to set limits, say no, shield in meditation and also in actions. For love, instead of arguing this month, try to find a peacekeeping way to a solution. It also means that it is a good month for you to date. We see choose love, and also the Ace of Swords usually shows that really strong physical connections can happen this month. The Trust card when it comes to health, wealth, this is health, wealth, love. I might have messed up the health and these two kind of go hand in hand as well. So I would say there's actually a correlation between both your wealth situation, which was the Trust card, I believe, and the love card here, which is choose love. So you need to trust the people that are in your inner circle. You need to trust the people that are also taking care of your money and finances. And there shouldn't be any sort of overlap there. A lot of times what happens with advisors in our life is we get to know them so well that they lose objectivity. And if that happens, I want you to try to find a way to bring it back to a professional level or maybe seek out some different advisors. Finally, remembering that health is really going to make the difference this month between happiness and unhappiness. I want you to be very, very keen on your sleep and wake schedules and trying not to abuse caffeine. Because I feel like for many of you, it could just be pushing yourself too far to prove something to people that you may or may not really care about, but that sort of like guilt you into it. Finally, flexibility, because remember your channel information was shapeshift. Let your mind flow freely. Allow yourself to move in and out of situations without becoming too rigid. Ebb and flow is really key. Okay, that's everything that came through for your sign this month. I do hope this was really helpful. If you ever want to have more of a one-on-one dialogue, I do offer readings, and I'll post a link in the corner. There's usually about a 4 to 6 week wait, especially in the summer months, so be patient if that's the case, or you can choose a rush option. Otherwise, the best way to sort of keep in touch is through subscribing to this channel, my newsletter, and I'll put links to the newsletter here as well. Or you can join me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And finally, I just want to say thank you because it's your support every month that makes this channel happen. So please keep up the likes, the subscribes, and all the comments because it really does show me what's resonating with you, and it helps me stay motivated from month to month. And one last thing, finally, if you do feel sort of moved to make a donation, I'll put a link to that as well. Every bit helps, and I do appreciate it. Otherwise, I'll see you again in a month, and thank you so much for allowing me to spend some time with you. Satnam, take care.